All right, here we go. OverDrive off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app, your home smart speaker, and up on TSN 2 all afternoon. Bryan Hayes, Jamie Noodles McLennan, Dave Feschuk of the Toronto Star in here.
What's going on, guys?
How are we feeling this afternoon?
I don't know. You guys tell me. How are we feeling?
Well, it's quite something right now in Leafland, isn't it? It really is quite something. Where last night was a playoff game. Right? Yeah. Last night had a playoff atmosphere to it and a very similar outcome. You'd think the Leafs would know better, like afterwards. Like, don't talk about playoffs after you've lost a game like that. Where afterwards, you know, Max Domi, you had a great night. Credit to Max. That was a big, big game for him last night. Big hit, big fight, scores a goal. And he's like, felt like playoffs. It's like, yeah, but you lost.
Yeah,
like you lost. That's kind of the issue right now is that exactly it felt like the playoffs. For the fans leaving the building, watching the team lose again in a tightly contested, kind of high atmosphere, high energy game, fun game, like really fun game to watch. And there was a lot of different things that came out of it. But in the end, the team that is very comfortable in a situation like that, the Florida Panthers, they walk out with 2 points and the Leafs go home and they try to reset for tomorrow night. And that's where we're at.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I had to go back and watch the game. Obviously, I was calling one, but I thought it could have gone either way. There were some chances at both ends. I'd like to see some difference makers be difference makers. That's really what's going to come down to in the playoffs. I know you've been talking about that forever, Brian, but it's, in the end, when you're looking at it, you come up short, and then you're thinking, okay, well, they didn't have Ekblad, they didn't have Tkachuk, and they didn't have Marchand. And I mean, but that being said, I would have liked to see Matthews being a different, a finisher. He had a couple chances in tight, but usually on other years, other chances, he scores some of those goals, scores some of those chances. It's just not happening for him right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, that is at the core of the issues right now for me is Auston Matthews.
Yes.
And I think, there's this debate within the fan base and everyone's got a different view on it. And for me, it's very simple. If he's injured, if he is hurt, then stop playing.
Right.
Then get out of the lineup and go take care of yourself, and you've got about 5 weeks to figure this out. But if you're going to play like he has been, like he did when he had to go to the Four Nations face-off, he made that decision, You better play better than this. It's that simple. Like, I'm getting to a point where it's deep, and there's a lot of layers to this because we dissect this marketplace countlessly, and everyone's got a different viewpoint of how tough it is and why would anyone want to play here. And here's the guy who is the highest paid player in the league. He's the captain of the team. He's in year 9. He's in his prime, and he's having the worst season of his career.
Yeah.
There's no other way to put it.
By a mile.
By a mile, he's having the worst season of his career. He's not seeking out contact. He looks uncomfortable when it comes to like a tightly checked game. He's not using his body a lot. And you look at the stats, he has one non-empty net goal since January 23rd. That non-empty net goal was the first goal they scored in Vegas when they were losing 5-0.
Yeah.
5-1 is the goal he scored.
Yeah,
and obviously we know how the rest of it played out. And Al's brother had the stats last night. Al's brother was really digging deep last night.
Was he ever? He was harassing me at midnight.
He had some great stats. And, since January 23rd, that's the kind of date that people are looking at with Matthews here in particular. After him failing to score last night, he has one 5-on-5 goal in his last 16 games and 5 primary points in that stretch. So to put that into perspective, that's about a third-line player in terms of production. So you can talk about his two-way game. You can talk about killing penalties this year. And that first power play goal, he was soft on it, right? He was soft on it, and that was his man, and he couldn't get there, and he's waving his stick, and he didn't get the job done. But if you're going to score one 5-on-5 goal in 16 games and have 5 primary points in 16 games, that's what I'd expect out of Pontus Holmberg.
And look, you can defend that, guys, by saying, look, over that 16-game stretch, he's got 18 points. So
a lot of
assists.
20-game
guy. No, it's a lot of secondary assists.
Secondary assists.
A lot of secondary assists. And you're not the highest paid player on this planet. You were not made the highest paid hockey player on the face of the earth to get secondary assists.
Right, exactly.
You were made the highest paid player on the planet for one reason and one reason only, is that you've got next level, maybe never seen before abilities to snap pucks into the net past goaltenders. And for some reason, that ability has eluded him.
Yeah, and sure, he's had some chances. He plays a ton. He plays 20 minutes a night. Like, of course he's going to get some chances, and he's playing with great players. Although I didn't think Marner had a good night last night.
No,
but he's fumbling pucks, and it's off for him right now. But I've been waiting for him all year, like I think everyone else has, and I've been giving him the benefit of the doubt. I'm speaking of Matthews here, where I'm like, it's going to pop. He's going to take off. Like 2 months ago, we were doing Jerry's and confirmed or denies, and I'm like, I could still see him winning the Rocket. I think he could hit 50. Now, like the last 6 weeks have flipped for me to the point where now he's got to prove he can get it back. Like he's got to prove he can get back to that status because they absolutely need it. Like it's the whole philosophy of team building and who they are, what they represent starts with him being the best player and being the best goal scorer and 5-on-5 in particular. Because come playoff time, it's tightly contested, not a lot of ice. And he does it better than anybody. That's what's so perplexing. Like prior to this year, there's no one that's been close to him 5-on-5 goal scoring. Nobody even close. And for him to have the best goal scoring year of his career last year and truly one of the maybe 5 or 6 greatest seasons we've ever seen when you can, you do era adjusted and all that. That's how good he was. To this year, he may not hit 30 goals. It's staggering to see.
Well, and you said Al's brother digging into the stats. Again, like, This is one that I look at. His shooting percentage is 11.5%. That's very low for him. Last year, it was 18.7. So we know. Listen, last year was an outlier. It felt like everything he threw at the net, bad angle, you name it, just found the back of the net. That was a special season. I don't think, we expected him to get to 69, but 50 wasn't, we all like 50 in your sleep type of thing because we know what he's capable of. I want to defend him still because I do believe, there are pockets of play in guys' careers. I played with some great players, the Prongers and Brett Hulls and you name it, Pierre Turgeon, Hall of Famers, guys that went through stretches on seasons where they had down seasons. The important part is they play when it's most important. So, he's got lots of runway here still, and he's got a playoff ahead of him. So, regardless of what happens right now, and listen, the team is in one right now, not getting points. It doesn't look as great. Yes, last night was a playoff game. But Auston Matthews has an opportunity here down the stretch to get his game in order and then pop in the playoffs if he can do that. And I try and look at the other side of the coin. And he's not alone. 97 in Edmonton's not been a world beater. Now he's getting, to your guys' point, he's getting points. McDavid got points last night, but he doesn't look like the McDavid, the separator, all of that. There are some guys that are having these type of struggles this season where, long season, all of that type of stuff, Four Nations, everyone's got the built-in excuse. When you make that type of money, there is expectations. And when you've set the bar that high for McDavid, Matthews, you name it, there's a handful of guys throughout the league that are going through it. But when it's particular to this market, and this is what we're talking about with Auston Matthews, it's just noticeable. Like, and I get it. I'm in the rink last night in Ottawa, and I have Leaf fans that come up to me and be like, what are you hearing on Matthews? Is he injured? Yeah. Like everyone, that's the conversation you get. That's not the Auston Matthews we see. Is he banged up? Is he going through something? Right. That's I don't know how you guys, your conversations on a daily basis, that's what I'm getting from Leaf fans is like, that guy looks different than what we've seen in the bar.
Well, there's no disputing it. I mean, he does look different and the stats are different. Like that's another thing. Like there are last year again, there would have been 40 or 50 times you would have watched a Leaf game and said that guy was the best player on the ice or the most dominant, or he'd have moments or shifts or periods where you'd say no one can stop him, he's unstoppable. That just has not been who he is this year. And again, because he was injured in camp and he had the injuries earlier in the year and he went to Germany, that's hanging over everything. So that, I think, is what is leading to the hesitation for a lot of people to just state facts. Like the facts are, last night, that's a game you need Auston Matthews to break loose. Yeah. He has to break loose in a game like that. Is it the end of the world that he didn't? Obviously not. They're still going to the playoffs. But you bring up a valid point, Noodles, that the definition of this season is still going to be ahead of this team.
It's down the road, yes.
Absolutely. But I can't sit here and say I'm confident it's going to flip.
Right.
Like that.
I
That's
get
the
that.
thing. It's not like McDavid. I think deserves more of the benefit of the doubt because of what he's done in the playoffs in the past.
Right.
And
Yeah, he's the reigning Conn Smythe Trophy winner.
exactly. He won a Conn Smythe when his team lost.
Right.
Yes,
Right?
yeah.
Like
Okay, fair
Matthews and the other guys with this team, they don't have that built in
That's the thing.
like belief system.
And that's the difference to me, Noodles, is like,
Yeah.
I agree with you. Like, ultimately, we're not going to remember what happened in mid-March with this
Right.
team.
No,
right?
I get it. In a vacuum, and it's our job to talk about it. I'm not avoiding it. The reason why I wanted to bring it up, I wanted to bring context. Doesn't mean I don't dislike what I'm seeing. And that's, I have to be clear on that.
Sure.
But I wanted to point out the biggest test is ahead of these guys.
Sure.
And they've got to
No
get
doubt.
their act together so that they're all playing at their best when the challenge comes, whether that's Florida, whether that's Tampa, who knows, whether that's Ottawa, whoever's around the corner from them. And, I get people, I don't know if you're a Leaf fan, you don't want Ottawa. I mean, you know what you need to do? Worry about your own. That's what I would say. And the Maple Leafs need to worry about the way that they're playing and not handpick and go, geez, we want this team instead of that team. Because we know how that turns out. You just need to worry about your own game. That's what I keep talking
right.
about.
And they got some things they still got to figure out. You know, in the last 8 days, they played Vegas, Colorado, and Florida. Like, those are 3 real
Heavy
teams,
hitters,
man.
yeah.
Like, any of those 3 win a Stanley Cup, nobody's surprised.
Agreed.
And they got outplayed in all 3 games. And last night
Yeah.
was the best performance they had of the other 2. Like, Vegas wasn't even close. And Colorado wasn't even close. It was a miracle they were up 4-2.
Yeah.
Absolute
Right.
miracle. Last night, I didn't think they played poorly as a team. I thought actually they got some depth, right? They actually got, they get on the board quick. Brilliant play. Nylander to Tavares. The building's hopping.
Yeah.
Domi throws a massive hit, wins a big fight. Like, again, he had some jump last night. You bring Tanev back into the lineup. And
he looked good, too.
And he looked pretty good. And you feel pretty good about that. But ultimately, special teams and their best players didn't get it done. And yes, it's not a playoff game last night. But if you listen to the Leafs, they're saying this, playoff atmosphere, and these are litmus tests. So we got to keep learning from this, and we got to keep going for it. The issues they've had when it has, the rubber has hit the road, is can their best players be clutch in big moments, and can their special teams show up? And last night, they failed on both the fronts.
Yeah.
Like, there's no other way to put it. And that's with Florida in your building without 3 of their best players.
Yeah. Without their heart and soul. And
And they've done it. And Florida's been to 2 Cup finals. Like, Florida didn't look at that game like, this is huge for us. I think they're wired that way to show up. They're like, we'll come out here and punch you in the face if we can. But if they finish second, third, wild card, I don't think Florida cares. The Leafs are in a very different position because you would presume they should be because of their history and what they're finally trying to achieve here.
Yeah, and you're right. Like that, we can't look past. All we know is what we've seen. And I say it all the time when people talk about goalie tandems. Well, I know I've seen one guy play in the playoffs. I haven't seen the other guy. So you don't know. And until they prove you right or wrong, this is what we talk about, right? And last night, you're right. When the minute that they say, well, playoff game, geez, Marner wasn't that great last night, and Matthews, and it's like, here we go again. Power play went quiet, and that's kind of been a problem scoring, and their penalty kill, like, Bennett, you're right. Guys are banging away in front of the net. Like, there was some of the things that we've seen in the past. So what it does is bring up those memories.
That's exactly
what I remember.
And it's because of who did what on the other side. Like Sam Bennett, look at his 2 goals. He's within a foot of the crease on both of them. Like, that's a guy who his numbers are not going to jump off the page. By the end of the year, he's not going to be in the Art Ross chase. He's not up for the Hart Trophy. But it's 2 goals where he's like, I'm going to the net hard with my stick down and I'm fighting for ice. Yeah. And you can try to knock me out if you want, but I'm betting on myself that it won't happen.
But guess what? It wasn't that hard to fight in either.
No, I mean, both times he's he's wide open.
That's wide open. The second one he's wide open.
You can't be less harassed than he was there.
Yeah, I'm like the second one was Benoit, the first one was McCabe, and neither guy had him, and he's wide open in front of the net. And those aren't skill goals; those are will goals. Like, that's just a guy that's like, I'm going here, and if you want to hit me, come try to hit me. But I'll bet you I get my stick on this thing.
But Noodles, we've been talking about how they're going to need elite goaltending for a reason, right? Because those 2 plays right there, they illustrate how this team's defensive game, 5-on-5 and penalty kill is, at times has cratered, especially 5-on-5. Like, they've become one of the worst defensive teams in the league since January 1st by a lot of different metrics. And look, Brandon Carlo might help that over time. It's going to take him some time to board the moving train.
Yeah.
And obviously, Tanev being back healthy is going to help, no doubt about it, because he's been out for those couple of weeks that were, where they really showed a lot of warts. But man, this team, it needs to get its acting gear as a defensive unit. Forget about Matthews. If they can't stop the puck from going in their net, Matthews might not be able to score enough goals to make the result change at the end of the playoffs.
Yeah, you're right. Like, there's a lot of, I would say the word concern, but we've gone through this. Was it 10 days ago, 15 days ago? They, on the show, we're playing Major League and they've won 5 in a row and, looked like, and again, maybe their opponents weren't as formidable. It wasn't as, it didn't look as different, but there is pockets of play, and I've seen it all throughout the season. Right now, I call a game like the Ottawa Senators are 6-0-1 in their last 7.
Yeah,
but
red hot.
It was 2 weeks ago they couldn't win, and couldn't get a save and couldn't. Like, this is what we're seeing. So, what you've got to do is regroup today. You got a Battle of Battle of Ontario tomorrow, which is, it's electric, regardless of, what side or whatever. I know in Ottawa, they look forward to it. I know the Leafs look forward to it. Those games are pretty good, and they're quite electric. And, you've got the luxury of last change on home ice, all of that, a Saturday night. To me, this is an opportunity to right the ship if you're the Leafs. And the Sens, like, they're scratching and clawing. Like, they're right there.
And they always play the Leafs pretty well. I mean, that's, and you look at the Leafs with, all these stats are coming up, and you can find different ones to paint a different picture. But they're now 8-9 versus Eastern Conference teams that are currently in a playoff position.
Yeah,
with a minus 10 goal differential on the year.
I saw that. Yeah,
like
I saw that
and that's ultimately what really matters, because yes, they've won game. They're in the playoffs. They're going to the playoffs, and that's not a horrible statistic, but it's not overwhelmingly positive.
No,
that they're not defending that well. Their best player's nowhere close to where he should be in terms of his performance. You got the Marner thing hanging over them. They're still trying to figure, okay, what's going to happen with the goalies down the stretch? Like, it flips quickly. It flips quickly to all of a sudden you look at it and you go, okay, how are they going to mesh this together? And how are they going to be in a position to succeed come playoff time? Because that's always what was going to matter is how they peak come playoff time. But, again, a game like last night, you find a way to win that, especially in regulation. All of a sudden you leapfrog Florida, and you're going to be likely you're in a better position if you win your division. Like,
and there's no other way to put it. And it adds for your confidence,
big time.
Too.
You got to get those wins.
Well, you do. And the other thing, too, is the schedule's not slowing down. You've got Ottawa tomorrow. You've got Calgary Monday.
Colorado
next
Wednesday.
The Rangers Thursday. That's a back-to-back. And then Saturday at Nashville. So you've got 5 games in, we'll call it 7-8 days, depending on how you count them. Like, there's no sitting around feeling sorry for yourself. Hey, we need more practice time. Like, you're right back at it. So, you have to have amnesia and say, lost last night, got to go back at it, opportunity here to move forward. And the thing is, you're playing teams, as I just mentioned, Ottawa's desperate. The Calgary Flames are desperate. They're trying to make the playoffs on the other side. The Avalanche are who they are. I mean, we know they're, the Rangers are desperate. Same situation. And Nashville wants to play spoiler. So there's going to be no real easy layup games. You got to get your game in order to battle this and have a good week, because there's no looking back.
Yeah.
You got to dig in.
You got to beat, if you can't beat Nashville, like I hear what you're saying, Noodles, but like this is what is bothering me is it's like the Leafs should not be in a position where they're like, well, you never know. It's like, no, you should know by now. You're a veteran team in the league that's been doing this for years. You've got a lot of the same core players. You got a new coach. Like, there's no excuses for not coming down the stretch strong.
Yeah.
Zero. Like, I can make excuses for Florida. Tkachuk's hurt. Ekblad's suspended. They've been to 2 straight Cup finals. I can make an excuse that Florida's like, we put our feet up. We started thinking about the playoffs. Our bad. There's no excuse for the Leafs. I'm sorry, none for them to ever take their foot off the gas. Well, none. They have done nothing in their history to deserve that.
100%.
Nothing.
You're dead on there. And here's the thing that worries you though about Matthews, right? Like you think about first of all, their lack of injury disclosure and not even giving anybody a clue about what's wrong with him, I think, probably hurts them in situations like this where he's laboring and we're not sure what he's laboring with, right?
Right.
But the point being, like, if indeed, to your point, Hayes, I've heard a lot of people say, well, why don't they just shut him down? Put him on LTIR.
Well, they missed that boat. They should have done it before the trade deadline.
Of course, they should have done it a while ago. They could have done it a while ago. The fact they didn't do that, right? Does that tell you maybe? And speaking to people in the trainer / physical therapist / orthopedic surgeon community who are all looking at this, they all watch the tapes. They're all speculating about what could be wrong. What do they see? Biomechanics guys, what do you see? Their point being, well, if they didn't do that, maybe that tells you this is one of those injuries that's not going away with 6 weeks rest, which worries you because he can play through it. It's not getting any worse, but it ain't getting any better with rest.
Yeah. And if that's the case, and again, because of the Leafs' approach to this, and Matthews in particular, we're never going to hear anything.
No.
Unless there's a press release out of nowhere that he had surgery and something happened. Like, that's it. And even that, they probably won't even tell you what it was. They'll just say surgery somewhere on the body.
That's right.
And listen, he's entitled to that. I'm with you. I'm not sure it helps him at all. But that is scary. And that's what I'm driving at here is that, like, everyone knows what he's capable of. And when it comes to goal scoring, when it comes to being a dominant performer, the guy is on a very short list in the league. Like, he's a phenomenal player. And he's so important, and he's the captain, and he's the face of the team. And it's just it's getting to a point now, we're into mid-March, where if that is the case, like, something's going on and no one's going to know what it is, but there's no way of fixing it. What we've seen here basically the whole season, and certainly the last month to 6 weeks, is concerning. That he won't be able to elevate come playoff time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because guys can have bad seasons, Noodles, and then come playoff time say, I'm ready to go.
Well, and you like,
if
that's
your body won't let you do it, then your body won't let you do it.
I understand that. And there is a saying in the pro hockey world as a players, and coaches say it all the time. You can't just flick a switch. Like, we see guys and, now I'm going to try. Now I'm going to turn it around. Like, you do have to build. You do have to find confidence. A lot of it is confidence. A lot of it is, the analytics people, puck luck, all of that type of stuff. I mean, there are hard stats that you can look at, and I pointed out shooting percentage. On the years where he is in the 40s, he's at 12 something. He's at 11. Like, and the years that he's at 60s, he's at 17. He's at 18. Like, those are years where things are going well for him. Where things aren't going as well, you hit a post instead of it going in. You miss the net instead of it going in. We've seen a lot of that this year. You couple that with, the injury and the rest, and then the Four Nations and all of that. It's a busy year for him, but there's still an opportunity. Down the stretcher, you've got time to get your game in order before the big dance. And I think that's where, he's got to focus on that. The team has to focus on that. And there's no time. There's no rest for the weary. You're playing again tomorrow night and against a team that is hungry and wants to play right now.
Yeah. We'll see. You're more optimistic than I am.
I'm trying to be.
I understand why you're trying to be, and I get it. And I hope it turns, and I hope everything works out. I'm not rooting against it.
But you're just trying to be realistic.
Yeah, I mean, they're 65 games into the year. Like, this isn't October anymore or November. Like, this is, Matthews is on. We got to be consistent here. Like, if Mahomes is doing something, you talk about it. If Josh Allen is I guarantee you the rest of the league's like, what is going on with Auston Matthews? Like, that guy had 69 last year. He won a Hart a few years ago. And this year it just isn't happening. And he's fumbling pucks, like late 6 on 5 last night. I thought even the play where he broke through the defenders, kind of a semi breakaway, he got it off quick and he kind of flicked. It was weight. It wasn't even close.
That's the thing that I've
like. It was like he got it off quick, and I don't know if that's because he was bracing for impact or his, what was going on. I'm trying to get a read on the guy, and obviously I don't know.
I'll tell you what, that's the thing. That's the thing I noticed in Hayes. It's like when you go watch him at practice and you go and you watch clips like that. I mean, I think back to watching this guy when he's in the midst of a 69-goal season, and the number of times that he would shoot a puck, and I would go, "Wow!" Like, you don't see it. And I've never seen a puck come off a stick quite like that. There's been no wow factor this year.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, I haven't said that. Like, he scored his share of goals. Like, he's got 20-something goals, but I haven't, you don't see that explosiveness off the stick that was his trademark. That's who he is. That's why they paid him.
That's why he's the highest paid player in the league. Yeah, and then he's got the captaincy hanging over him. Like there's a lot going on. Like there's a lot of pressure on him, a lot of pressure on these guys. And you're right, Noodles. Though you still have time to change everything. Like
it is. It's
just like Edmonton, just like a lot of different teams, a lot of different individual players.
You go right through the league, and there's guys that are having down seasons, and you go, okay, well, at some point, the balance of this team, the success of this team relies on those people, good or bad. Like you mentioned Edmonton, like that's the same thing. This like nothing's changing now. From now to the end of the season with the rosters. They're not calling up a guy to play in front of Auston Matthews or Connor McDavid or whoever else is struggling throughout the league to their standards. It's these guys have to get their game in order for that particular team to have success. Here in Toronto, the Leafs don't win a first round if Auston Matthews isn't a big part of it. That's just the bottom line.
Absolutely it. It's not right? It's not on one player. You need everyone collectively to pop in, but you also understand the pecking order of importance. Yeah. And if he needs to be great, you have to. Like you have to. And if he's not going to be, it's going to put more pressure on other players. And again, with the way that this team is built and really the way the league is now, it's 32 teams, it's top heavy, there's a finite number of money you can spend.
Yeah.
You've got your 4, 5, 6, 7 guys that have to really just have a dream 2 months. Like just everything's got to break for them. They got to be great for 2 months. And if the guy at the top of that list is in a position where you're worried he can't get there, then that puts a lot of pressure on your whole team. And, he knows that. The Leafs know that. And, again, they don't have to have that answer today. It's March 14th. But it'll be April 14th before you know it.
That's right.
It happens quickly.
Right. You're right.
Ottawa in town tomorrow night. Travis Green, he will join us. We'll tee up the Battle of Ontario next. Ottawa's won 5 in a row. Linus Ullmark looks outstanding. Everything's breaking their way. Ottawa's in a really good spot. Bunch of chants last night. Lots of energy in the building last night. So we'll catch up with Travis and get his take on what's been going so well for their team and what we can expect tomorrow night. We'll catch up with him next. All right, Mike Johnson coming up later this afternoon. Dear Hazy B without the O-Dog.
Whoa.
The O-Dog is he'll be back on Monday. Yeah, Dear Hazy B at 6:30. And it sounds like we've been helping people. I'm seeing a picture here of Josh down there with his wife and young child.
I need context for that, though.
Okay.
I need context for that picture.
I'll tell you about it because it's circulating online. And
okay.
I think it's one of our finest pieces of work, quite frankly.
Really?
I think, I mean, that's generally what we try to do at Dear Hazy B is help people. And I think we really help Josh and company here. So I'll tell you more about that a little bit later this afternoon. But we're preparing for the Battle of Ontario tomorrow night. And I can't remember the last time we had a game like this between these two teams.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's been a while where, Ottawa's been out of the playoffs. And prior to that, Ottawa went to the playoffs every year. And the Leafs weren't in the playoffs. And it's going back maybe to the days when Travis Green was playing in the Battle of Ontario, the last time we had a game like this.
Jumping in the bench.
Jumping in the bench.
I can't
he was in there first,
was.
and then Tucker went in, and it was a circus like always. Maybe we'll get that tomorrow night. Yeah. Here's the head coach of the Ottawa Senators, Travis Green. How you doing, Travis?
Hey, guys, I'm doing good. I know if it happens tomorrow, I won't have Chief.
That's true. You won't meet him in the middle?
No. I'll be grabbing someone else.
You'll be grabbing Savvy or somebody. Mike Van Ryn, you attack them first.
Yeah, I love that. He was, Berube was talking about that Superman punch by Benoit the other night. And he's like, I never tried that. Like, well, if you haven't tried it, that probably speaks to, like, how rare it is because no one fought more than Berube back in the day. But it's going to be electric tomorrow night. I mean, you guys are on a heater right now. It must be a lot of fun to be coaching your team right now.
Yeah, you know what it is. It's always fun when you win a few games for sure. I think the mindset of every coach always is just reset and get ready to do it again. And we've done a pretty good job of that. Our guys, our players, of just whether we win or lose, getting focused on the next game at hand. I think tomorrow is one of those games where, coaches don't probably have to say a lot. It's going to be an emotional game. Both teams will probably be on top of their game. So,
Greeny, you talk about emotional game. I mean, your captain is kind of your pace car. When you look at the way Brady plays, it's with emotion. He's involved in everything, but he's also chipping in offensively. Is that something that you don't have to give him a tap? He kind of just reads the situation, or do you have to reel him in sometimes? Like how do you handle a guy like that who plays with his heart on his sleeve?
Well, there's one thing that I really believe in, and I've said it from day one, is I'm never going to take the emotion out of his game, or would I want to. He's a rare player in the league that can do a lot of different things. And he does a lot of things that some guys don't want to do. And, he loves winning. But I think, he's still relatively young in the league as well, and he's learning different parts of the game as being a young captain, but also controlling his emotions. And I think he's done a great job of that this season.
Well, you mentioned, new experiences for him. He I guess I wouldn't say suffered one, but he experienced one last week when Josh Norris was traded, and he and Norris best friends. I mean, well documented. He had a tough time talking about him after that, and Dylan Cozens has stepped in and played great for you guys. But I'm curious, did you handle that in any which way, dealing with Tkachuk, dealing with Norris going out? Was there anything you felt you had to say to him to kind of help him get through that experience?
I mean, it's no secret that Josh and Brady were tight and good friends, and the one thing about Brady is he also understands the game as well. And I talked to Brady a bit about it, but he's grown up in the hockey world, in the hockey family, with his dad, his brother, his sisters, and mom, and if there's anyone that's probably equipped to handle that or understands it, it would be him. And but that still doesn't take the emotional part away from it. I would expect him to be upset, and I think through the course of your career, if you play long enough, you meet people and you play with people that are lifelong friends, and it's hard to say goodbye sometimes, and there's nothing wrong with that. And, at the end of the day, they're still going to be great friends. But if anyone knows that it's a business, it would be Brady.
Well, the business that you guys pulled off at the trade deadline, I mean, albeit on a pretty short sample size here, Travis, looks to be working pretty well, with Cozens having a point in each of the 4 games he's played. What's been the key to him sort of boarding the proverbial moving train with such ease, or apparent ease anyways, from outside?
Yeah, he's really stepped right in and looked real comfortable with our group. Whenever that happens, I think, credit has to go to the players on the team as well. I think certain scenarios, certain teams within the locker room of players have an environment that welcomes people and they feel comfortable. I think that's a big part of players playing well. Also, he's a very talented player. You never really know a player until you coach him, and just I've watched him from the outside and watched some video, but he certainly played well since he's come here. He's got almost feels like a breath of fresh air, I think, in a way, that he's jumping into a playoff race, and he seems excited to play, and he's played well. He's a big body. He skates well. I think he had 17 hits his first 2 games with us, and that's a part of the game that is still alive, is the physical part, but also he can score and do a lot of different things as well.
Greeny, how good has the goaltender been? And I mean, it was a weird game last night. 3 goals on 9 shots, not very busy, but then he locks it down and has what I yelled the save of the year. I mean, how important has he been to your group? Just with what he's been able to do when he's been healthy.
Yeah, I think there's no secret how good Linus is, and coming off what we thought was going to be not a very long injury turned into something a lot longer. I think, like any player, it takes a little while to knock the rust off and find your game when you're out for that long. Not that he was playing terrible. I think he was just not up to the standards that we had gotten used to for that 10-game stretch beforehand. And, I think he's starting to find his form. He had a stellar game against Detroit where we weren't very good as a team, and he made 48 saves, I believe. And, last night was kind of, like you said, a little bit of a weird game. You know better than me, but as a goalie, I think at one point the shots were 20-something to 7, and, they had a couple tip-in goals, a backdoor goal, and he wasn't getting much action. And then we took our foot off the gas a little bit, and they started to gain some traction. And, man, that save last night, to be honest, I hadn't watched it fully until later at night after I'd done media already, and it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, it was a great save, man. That was a great save, and it's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow night. And I'm curious how you've experienced your own building throughout this season, because we're aware of the playoff drought, and fans kind of getting on different players and coaches and management in the past. But last night, based on what I saw, Noodles, you were in the building too. It was electric, man. And there were chants going off, and people are going crazy.
It was awesome.
How much fun has that been? Like, have you experienced the fans kind of coming alive as the year's gone on?
Yeah, you sure have, especially, now I think once we've got to this final 20 games and, quite honestly, we were on the road for quite a stretch of time with the World Juniors. I think at some point we'd played 14 or 15 and 19 on the road. And now that we've been back in our building for a little more frequently and coming down the stretch, these last 2 games have been really what it's all about, what you envision in Canada when a team is either in the playoffs or hopefully on the verge of making it. And it's been great. It's been electric. It's been exciting, obviously energizing for the players. And, that's part of sport, and that's just the part that you love. And, it's going to be exciting down the stretch here.
Oh, it sure will be. Yeah, it's going to be a great one tomorrow night. A building you're very familiar with. You guys have played very well against the Leafs this year. You have for years, really. And I'm looking forward to seeing how it all plays out. Good luck tomorrow night, Greeny. We appreciate you doing this.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me.
You got it. Travis Green of the Ottawa Senators. And it'll be a fun one tomorrow night. Battle of Ontario, Saturday night, down the stretch. Big game for both teams. Man, you couldn't ask for anything better.
And, just a side note, too, Tkachuk didn't miss, but he didn't play the last 7 minutes.
The hip,
Greeny did say the hip. I didn't want to bring it up, but I expect he did say in his media to Bruce Garriock last night that he, little hip or something, but he said he'd be fine. Mm-hmm. I don't know. We'll see. Got to track stuff like that. But in the end, they're a team that's feeling it. But again, the Leafs, it's their building. They've got to have a big push. And these battles of Ontario, they bring out, I said this before, regardless of where people are in the standings, Battle of Alberta, Battle of New York, Battle of Ontario, like these are electric. Even those Buffalo Toronto games, they get people excited. So it'll be a good one tomorrow night.
Hey, Noodles, I had to watch that save like 4 or 5 times this morning just because I couldn't believe it. Like, take me through where you were kind of looking at it from and what you saw in real time.
Okay, so because I'm between the benches, so I've got a view of the actual how it's set up, and I was like, okay, this is going to be 5-4. Like, that was for me 100% goal, and Boston was really pushing at that point. It was 5-3, and then you get in a position where they make that play that makes it 5-4, and the Bruins now all of a sudden have life because the Greeny said the Sens took their foot off the gas a little bit. The Bruins had the comeback win against Florida 2 nights earlier, where Florida was sitting pretty up 2-0, and it's 3 quick goals, and the Bruins win that in regulation. And I kept thinking at 5-3, I'm like, man, this game might not be over. That save was an exclamation mark. It kind of slowed things down. The Bruins kind of died in momentum in that play. And, in the third, there was some presses and stuff like that, but That save was, I wasn't joking, like that's as good a save as I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it was incredible, especially considering the context, like you said. Like Ottawa was in the lead, Swayman's been pulled. Like there's no reason to even make it a game. And if it's 5-4 going into the second intermission, things get tight.
Exactly.
And for him to make that save, and then they kind of could breathe in the third period.
Yeah.
And now Ottawa, they got a 5-point buffer on a playoff spot. Like Rangers won last night. Rangers are right there. The Habs are still there.
Well, and Columbus lost. That was a big one too. I think Vegas beat them. Like it is again. I'm sitting there in between the benches, and I'm just scoreboard watching.
Yeah, it's
the
awesome.
whole time.
It's awesome.
Like it is great. Now you look at Ottawa. What are they? They're 4 points behind Tampa, 6 behind the Leafs.
Mm-hmm.
Like
they could still get in there. Like they could still get in there. Yeah.
But in the end. I think that you're more focused on the teams behind you. Like if I was Ottawa, maybe Travis and them might have a different mentality. But if I'm Ottawa, I'm looking at Columbus, I'm looking at the Rangers, I'm looking at Montreal, Detroit. Boston has played more games, so that's a bit of a struggle. But in the end, I look at it and. That's why I'm looking behind me if I'm Ottawa.
Especially considering the recent history. Like, that'd be great if you get into the 3 seed or 2 seed or whatever. You just want to make the playoffs.
You're just trying to make the playoffs.
That's what they're chanting last night. Make the playoffs.
Yes.
Not win a Stanley Cup. Make the playoffs.
We want playoffs.
Exactly.
That's what they were yelling.
You got to crawl before you walk, before you sprint. If you're anywhere, if you're in Ottawa, if you're Detroit, if you're the Habs, it's the same thing. Like, you just want to get in. But as it stands, like now they got a buffer. They're in a good place. That you could see, 4 teams from the Atlantic face each other in the first round.
Yeah,
and,
that's right.
If because no one's going to catch Washington. They lost last night, but they got a 9-point buffer on Florida. No one's catching them. They're going to end up with the 1 seed in the East. So whoever is that first wild card is going to play either Florida or Toronto or Tampa. And if I were putting money down, I think most people would. I would lean Florida with the 1 seed. And they're in the driver's seat. They're playing very well. They've been red hot recently. They defend very well. They check well. They have big game players. Even their fourth line was in the middle of everything last night. It set up the game winner.
And the goalies,
and Bob's going to be really good, exactly. Yeah. And so, Florida is the pace car. Florida's the team that the Leafs are chasing. Tampa's chasing everyone. Yep. But I think if you had Florida versus Ottawa, Toronto versus Tampa. Those are 2 really good series.
Florida, Ottawa, Tkachuk crime.
That'd be a great series.
The Tkachuk the Tkachuk brothers head to head. Like, I don't know how that would unfold because they both play for keeps. Like, I could see them. Like, I've been present for a lot of those head to head games, and you can tell, like, in regular season, there is still, and believe me, Matthew gets underneath the skin of everybody. And Brady's and him have argued a few times and on the ice, and it said, I've heard him say, like, smarten up and that type of stuff. But I can't imagine in a game, like in a 7-game series where it's a war, I don't think they would fight, but I feel like there would be scrums where they're punching each other in the face.
Yeah, for sure.
I really feel like there would be.
Yeah, well, they've promised not to fight, allegedly. Like they've said they've told their mom they wouldn't fight.
Didn't the Primo brothers probably make that promise at one point?
Yeah,
they did.
Well, promises can be broken.
They can be broken. They're made to be broken.
But wasn't it they fought wasn't it Keith went into the training room and the mom was on the phone?
Yeah, I think because he's the older brother, I believe, to Wayne.
Chewing him out. Yeah, chewing him out that he fought Wayne. But it is what it is. But let's not put the cart before the horse. There's still lots of games and lots of weird potential.
Hey, listen, that's
things to change.
Still with the Leafs, listen, you're down on the way they've been playing recently. I don't see how anyone. There's no sugarcoating the way they've been playing.
No.
Like, their defensive numbers have been terrible. They haven't had big games from their big players, and they've lost a lot of games in the last 10 days that have been litmus test type games, and they've been outplayed in them. But you still have 17 regular season games left, and you're 4 points back of Florida, and you got Florida twice.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's over. Like, the Leafs didn't officially become the 2nd seed last night or the 3rd seed. So they still have time to figure this out. They got to get going. And tomorrow's a big one. And I think if I'm Craig Berube, I'd rather play a team. Like, I think Ottawa's a perfect one tomorrow night. I wouldn't want to play Pittsburgh tomorrow, or Philly, or
a team that, I'll give you an example, like Philadelphia.
Exactly.
Like Philadelphia
just
lost
playing it out
6 in a row, and then Tampa goes in there and loses in a shootout. Like,
you want to challenge your
thing.
team tomorrow. Like, challenge and believe that a challenge is coming and step up to the challenge, because that's what the Leafs need to do now. They need a win where they're the better team for the majority of 60 minutes. And they leave the rink saying, that's how we can play. We deserve to win it. And then you can get the ball rolling. But until they do that, that's the thing. Like, since the Four Nations, they have not had a game where you can say they were definitively the best team.
No.
And, like, that doesn't mean they haven't won games. They have. But there's been too many sloppy moments, or too many periods that have gone against them, or too many times where they lose in the possession game, or whatever it is. They need a carbon copy. Like, this is a Leaf game. And ideally it's tomorrow night. And if it is, that'll be a big moment for them. Mike Johnson coming up. Dear Hazy B later this afternoon. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app. All right, time for you to tell us where Al's brother's been hiding this week. Call us right now at 416-870-1050. 416-870-1050. The first caller through with the correct location wins a pair of tickets to see the Leafs play the Avalanche March 19th. What a game that is, man. What a game that is. 416-870-1050. Another chance to find Al's brother and win Leaf tickets starts next week right here on Overdrive. Brought to you by McAlpine Ford in Aurora, our family, the Ford family, and you. I have not, I've been tracking Al's brother online, but I haven't seen Al's brother in a while. Oh, I know where he is. He's at the Hall of Fame.
With some plaques in there.
He's at a hall with some plaques in there. He's at a hall with some plaques.
Hanging out with the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, the Florida Panthers just rolled through town to say hi to the Stanley Cup. That was nice.
Wasn't I one of the clues?
I don't remember. Were you one of the clues? Why would you have been one of the clues? Were they? I don't really listen to Alice, brother. I have to be honest with you.
Did you donate memorabilia to the Hall, Noodles? You got some stuff in there?
Oh, my name is on a trophy in the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
The Jennings.
No.
You were on the Jennings. Didn't you win the Jennings in St. Louis? I thought you won it in St. Louis.
I did. But I played 19 games. You have to have
Masterton. The Masterton.
You have to. So I won the Jennings and I won the Masterton, but the Jennings I didn't get my name on it because you have to have 25 games played in that year. Ooh. I had 19.
Let's get that changed.
So
let's get
I would honestly
right now.
I would actually advocate for that because I do remember. I don't know if you guys are the New Jersey. We got to talk. We got to go. But the New Jersey Devils put Mike Dunham in a bunch of games so that he could get on the Jennings.
Oh, let's get you on there. We need you on the Jennings in the 99, I think
99,
yep. All right. Hour 2 coming up. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2.